Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
What's going on, everybody? Happy Monday. I just want to say this is an awesome and incredible day. It's a day for breakthrough. So we're on part 3 of Get Your Breakthrough Now, 7 parts. And man, I'm super excited, man. I'm super excited about the breakthrough that I'm having right now. I don't know about you, but I'm having a breakthrough. I hope you are having a breakthrough, and I hope you followed along these past couple of days. Today, we're going to install number 3. We're going to install something else into the mix that will solidify. Guys, there's nothing like a breakthrough that doesn't come through. I'm going to say it again. There's nothing like a breakthrough that doesn't come through. So we want to make sure we have our breakthrough and we come through and we never go back. So that's, for me, it's important for me to never come back. I'm doing this. Look, it's so interesting when I do this podcast. I do this podcast because I'm just like you. I'm learning how to account for my life. And so I'm first and foremost, I'm the first person in line getting coaching this morning. I'm coaching myself. So what an awesome and incredible day of Monday. It's sunny. It was raining, but it's no longer raining. It's now time to move forward. So let's get our breakthrough and let's jump right into this. Before we go into today, let's do a quick recap. First part, you can't move on to number 2 until you understand and know what your obstruction is. What is the obstruction in you that's keeping you from this breakthrough? So if you discover that, then you can move on to number 2, because number 2 is what's the original intent for your life? Guys, breakthrough, maybe somebody else talking about breakthrough, they may not go into this. Original intent is everything. I'm not telling you you're going to discover the purpose for your life in like 1 second, in like 2 minutes, in like a week. I don't know how long it would take, but we have to address the fact that, if I really want to have a breakthrough and have it to continue to come through, then I got to make sure I understand some intent. Because if I can understand the original intent for my life, and it's not so hard to discover it, because hey, you got the power of expectation. God's original intent for your life is to expect the best and forget the rest. So if you don't know anything else, that's what you can use. And today, let's jump right into what I believe could be a game changer for all of us. What are we talking about today? I want to go all the way back to the beginning. And before I go back to the beginning, back to the scripture, I just want to have a quick conversation with you about something. And it's called obedience. Have you been obedient to yourself? I know it got quiet because I want you to think about it. Have you been obedient to yourself? See, many of us don't realize that we haven't been obedient to yourself. There's a really good book that I read some years ago, probably back in 2014, that I start listening to this week, Outwitting the Devil. Have you heard of that book, Outwitting the Devil, written by Napoleon Hill? It's one of these books that they would not release the book. It was written in 1936. It was not published until 2014. I want you to think about that. They would not publish it because they were afraid. Napoleon Hill's estate was afraid that if this was published, that something could happen to them. So it was the wish of Napoleon's wife, where she says, look, y'all can publish it. She told the estate, the estate can publish it after we are gone and buried, because then we don't have anything to worry about, because the information in it is so powerful that you, like, It's literally a book on a conversation with the devil. Now, obviously, this is fictitious, but man, oh man, this is written in 1936, and some of the things, the stuff that's in this book, it's like, what? All of it's real. It was written in 1936. No adjustments, written, ready for publishing. And so I want to challenge you to go listen to this book. It's on YouTube. You can down like they have it on Audible. I said, you know what? Before I use the credit on Audible, let me see if somebody put it on YouTube. And somebody put it on YouTube. So I'm listening. It's about I think it's like 4 hours. Man, really good book. I read the book once in 2014. I remember when I read it, it was out of control. So why am I telling you this? Why? Because in the book, it talks about this thing called drifting. That is how the devil gets a hold of people, because people don't know how to think. And because they don't know how to think, they don't actually understand the power that they possess. Once you start drifting, then that's where he gets you. That's where he sows seeds. The devil sows seeds, and then next thing you know, we are reaping what he sowed, because we don't understand our power and how to think. Why am I telling you this story? Because all of us at some point in our life have been a drifter. Here's a drifter is someone that basically allows circumstances to get the best of them. Just they're not what they call definite. You're not, like I did a podcast on this a while ago as I was talking about Napoleon Hill. A drifter doesn't have definite purpose in their actions. A drifter is someone that's not in control over their emotions. And he goes into grave detail in this book. And I had to think about it for myself. I says, man, I've drifted plenty of times. That's what got me in a lot of trouble. And even now, when I'm looking about finding the obstruction in me, I was definite to find the obstruction. Because I put forth an effort to think. Then, to discover the original intent in your life means that you are putting forth a definite purpose on your thoughts instead of allowing your thoughts to be manipulated by things on the outside of you. But what happens is we get manipulated from the inside because we're not obedient. See, today is about obedience. Today is learning how to obey. And what's interesting about obedience is that we can see from a young age, kids who've they don't know anything about not being obedient, but for some reason, kids know how to be disobedient. How is that? Well, he talks about that in the book. He talks about how he can control the bloodlines through these seeds and through these actions that people have. And so the way we can help our kids is really by shaping the environment. But he goes for the kids. And he also talks about this. He talks about how if one generation of kids learned how to think, it would totally thwart his plans. Now, this is obviously not the devil talking. But think about if one generation of kids, not the adults, because the adults cannot go into the next generation. The kids is what keep going. So if the kids change, then that is what changes everything, just the kids. So obedience. And the thing about obedience and definite purpose, which we have to really pay attention to as we're looking to break through right now in our life. What's the area you're going to break through? Be definite of that. Be fully engaged in what that is. I'm fully engaged right now in the definiteness. There were some things I needed to clean up yesterday. I cleaned them up. There's some things I'm looking to clean up today. I'm looking to audit everything around me, meaning things that I've said, things that I'm supposed to do, because the obedience to yourself, to what you said, is what's going to make the difference. Now, let's go back now into the Word of God. Genesis 1, 26 to 28. We're not going to read it, but that's a study lesson in and of itself. That's a study lesson. And so we have to understand, okay, if we must be obedient, What should we be obedient to? All right. So we know that the devil, his whole thing is about drifting. That means I have to be definite of purpose to what? Here's what we have to be definite of purpose to and be obedient to this one thing. Be fruitful. Don't worry about multiplication. Don't worry about subdue. Don't worry about replenish. Don't worry about dominion. None of that matters to you and me right now. All that matters to us right now is we must be obedient to this one statement. Be fruitful. Being fruitful means there's a seed planted within you. And because there's a seed planted within you and planted within me, then we take that, we then have to water the seed. Okay, well, what if we don't like you don't know what your purpose is? I already told you what your purpose is. Your one thing that you can have purpose around is the function of faith and the function of expecting the best. That function alone can be your purpose. Look around. Okay, I'm going to be obedient and I'm going to be fruitful. So I will take my expectations and be fruitful. Today, I will expect more of myself. Today, I will, look at all things in a different way. Today, I will, share more with people or whatever it is that you think that you should do or a way that you can get control over your thinking and over your expectation. See, the moment and this is why God doesn't call himself anything except I am, whatever that is. He didn't give himself a name because it's limited. So you got to look around and watch and audit your words on the limitations that you place on yourself. You got to watch and audit your words on how you describe yourself, right? You have to watch that. You have to pay attention to it. The kingdom success formula is simple. Joshua 1:8 says this: keep this book of the law on your lips, in your mouth. Okay, what is this talking about? Here's what it's saying. If you're going to say anything, say what's already been said. Say what's already good. If you're going to say anything, meditate on it day and night. If you're going to think about anything, think about what's already good. Think about what's already been said and already been done. That's good. And if you're going to do anything, do exactly what the word said. Do exactly what they thought that they should do. That's what you should do. So keep the book of the law in your mouth, meditate therein day and night, and do what it says, and you will make your way prosperous and a good success. That's the kingdom success formula for anybody to use right now. Be obedient to this right now. Be fruitful right now. Expect the best right now. Man, I'm telling you, man, I'm jacked up because 10 years ago, man, I needed this 10 years ago. And here's the thing. I was sinking and I was drowning in driftingness. I know that's probably not even a word. I was drowning in driftingness. I was just in wherever I was. I didn't know what I was doing with my life. I have no clue what I was doing, except I was just living and drifting. And here today, I'm gonna tell you, there was a time when I said, Lord, how am I going to get out? How am I going to get out of all of what it is that I've made for myself? Here it is. He's placed within me the solution to help people in the realm of money. And yet I was terrible with money. I was not honest. I was not honest about things in my life around money. I was not honest. And here it is. He's already called me to that. If we go back and think about Abraham was a liar. Abraham was a liar, and God knew he was a liar, but it didn't stop God from enriching him. Look, in Genesis chapter 12, it talks about how he called Abraham, and Abraham listened. Abraham was obedient to the call. He says, I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going to go in the direction of where I'm being called to. That's what Abraham did. Joshua, if you read Joshua 1, starting at the first verse, Joshua's having a conversation like, look, the servant of the Lord is gone. And what am I supposed to do? And immediately God says, well, look, yeah, he gone. And this what you gonna do? And there it was. He was like, oh, wow. And immediately after we get through those first 9 or 10 verses, Joshua immediately went into commanding the people around him. Look, this is what I heard. This is where we going, and let's go. Moses has just died. He didn't know, he didn't feel like he was ready to lead these people, just like Solomon didn't believe he was ready to lead the people that God was telling him to leave him, and say, hey man, I'm gonna need a little something. I'm gonna need a little something. God told Joshua, I'm gonna give you courage. He says, look, be of good courage, because I already know you got courage. Don't worry about that. And here it is, Solomon, same situation. When you are called, what happens when you are called? God equips you with what it is that he's going to give you. But here's the thing. If you are not obedient to the thing, the main thing, God can fix the rest of the things. God fix the rest of the things. God going to help you get through the rest of those things. But the main thing is important. The main thing is important. Like for me, the main thing for him is money. He's like, man, well, we can't release fully. Just like he did not release Abraham. He did not give Abraham the seeds. He did not give him his first seed until 15 years later. He didn't give it to him, but he enriched him. He wasn't calling him that. He just, that was just a default. So, all right, we're going to wrap this one up and close up here. All right. Obedience, be fruitful. Don't try and multiply. Don't try and subdue. Don't try and replenish. No dominion happens here. Being fruitful is the development of obedience. I'm saying it again. Being fruitful is the development of obedience. As we develop ourselves in where we are being called, we just have to water the seed of what it is that God is asking us to become. Gotta water seeds. That means you cannot drift in your thoughts. That means you cannot allow yourself into thoughts that are not pressing you and pushing you towards where it is that you're supposed to be going. Because if you do, it's just going to hold things up. I mean, it may not cancel it, but it's definitely going to hold things up. It's going to hold things up. So find the obstruction. Understand that to move forward, we've got to understand the original intent that God's placed within us, which is the faith function, the expectation. That's the gift everybody has. And then today, be fruitful, be obedient to watering the seed. Water your seed every day. Allow yourself to see things not how they are, but how they could be. If we see things how they could be, and we listen to what the Kingdom Success Formula says, keep the book of the law in your mouth, meditate on it day and night. Be careful to do what it says, and you'll make your way prosperous and have good success. Guys, I appreciate you for joining me for this episode of the Account for Life podcast. Jay Moore, the Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for life. God bless, and I will see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the Healthy Accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.